Thinking about selling your home in Missoula? Here's the truth. Buyers are still out there, but they're being picky. That means how you market your home matters more than ever. I'm Ty Hobbs with Hobbs Homes at Keller Williams, and my job is to make sure your listing stands out. From strategic pricing to professional marketing, stunning photography, and targeted advertising, I'll position your home to attract the right buyers and get you the best price possible. In today's market, it's not just about putting a sign in the yard, it's about telling your home story, creating urgency, and negotiating every dollar in your favor. If you've been on the fence about selling, now's the time to talk strategy. Let's see what your home could sell for and how we can make it happen.
Checking in now with Griz basketball as we come down the stretch. Just 5 games remaining in Big Sky Conference play. Montana coming off of a loss to Montana State, but no rest for the weary. They got to get a couple more done here before we get to Boise. So Chris Cobb, the associate head coach for the Montana Grizzlies, joining us. Coach, thanks for being here. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me, Colter. I appreciate it.
First of all, we got to just talk about the ups and downs in this league so far, not just for you guys, but for everybody. Portland State's been able to, sort of stay one step ahead of everybody else, and I think that was kind of expected given what they returned. But you look at the games, especially, like on the second night of the weekend on Saturdays, and the games are just, last 4 minutes to go. That's 4 point game, no matter who's playing where. There's been a couple blowouts, but not really. So what have you thought of just sort of the tightness within the league and just the margin of victory for your team and everybody else in the conference?
Yeah, I think we knew going into this season that you were going to have that, right? Where there's a lot of parity. You look at analytics or you look at data, and you can see that there's a lot of parity, right? Like I don't think the Big Sky's ever had so many teams between 130 and 250 in Ken Palm, right? I mean, it showed it in the non-conference. There was a pretty good showing in the non-conference for the league. And then once you get into conference, it's about who shows up that night and who's ready to go. I think you see the teams that have some older guys and have been around a little bit longer are showing that they can maybe be more consistent than others. But you got to show up that night and you got to be ready to go.
When it comes to just building a roster, I know that that's a huge part of you and everybody else on the staff's job. You guys have ebbed and flowed so much in how you guys do that at Montana in recent years. Last year was such a great year with some of the guys that came in that were just 1 year guys, but they just, sort of meshed pretty quickly and you guys were able to win a championship. What's that process like? How do you sort of vet guys and analyze them? Because it seems like it's more than just their basketball skill that goes into if they can come together quickly as a team.
Yeah, I think that we try to make sure that we're recruiting from people that we know or have some familiarity with, just so we have a background on who they are as a young man and what their expectations are and what they're bringing. Last year we had a group that was really selfless, and I think you saw that whether it was Jensen Bradkey or Jalen Foy or Zach Davidson, whoever went in the game, and it really rotated quite a bit outside of those first seven guys. Guys were ready to go and they were cheering on their teammates. And I think in college basketball these days, that's the single most important thing, is that you get a group that in February and March has no fracture, and is playing together and is playing as one, and isn't distracted. I think you get to this time of year with the portal and what is going on with your own individual game or role and expectations. Fracture can occur, right? You can kind of lose focus on what your team's doing. So I think when we put it together, we're trying to find the best players, but more importantly than that, guys that want to be a part of a team and want to accept what this community has to offer, and really what I think our program has to offer. I think over the 12 years we've been here, it's been about winning. It's been about the team, and we've been consistent with what we can deliver, I think, for the most part. And so we're looking for guys that want those things and value those things.
From this seat, it's been sort of frustrating to watch the fact that, if there's a guy that's like a returning all league player, there's about an 80% chance that guy's going to leave. Actually, some of the guys that have chosen to stay, the Money Williamses, the Anand Moody's of the world, have been guys that have sort of bought into what you're talking about, the stability of the program there at Montana. But I mean, you look at a guy like Malik Moore, who's, he's sitting there in the Big East, averaging like 14 points per game in conference play. That guy should be one of the best players in the Big Sky. Hard to slight him because he's one of the better players in the Big East. So, he's made the jump. But when you think about it broadly, I mean, does it get frustrating at times, just knowing that guys can just jump whenever, and that there is sort of greener pastures, at least when it comes to the money side of things at the higher level?
Yeah, I think the way that the rules are written now for a guy like Malik, that gave us everything while he was here, had a tremendous year, was a great teammate, was a great ambassador for our program on this campus and in this community. We're happy for him, right? The way that it is currently constructed, he took full advantage of it, right? He did exactly what you're supposed to do. You show up, you're 2 feet in wherever you're at. And if that leads to, something positive in your future, then great for you. I wish Malik was still here on our team. But in the current landscape of it and the way that and what he's able to generate from his time here, we're happy for him. I think that that's a great thing for what he did. It's no different than, I was a huge baseball fan. Like if you're play for the Oakland A's and you go to the New York Yankees, there's an element to this that matches kind of that model. But I do think, and I do believe in, hopefully that we can keep guys here for multiple years. I think that that's always been something that we've thrived on. I think you look at guys, I use Tyler Thompson as an example. He redshirted last year. Did we see the gratification or the immediate impact that he's making? Probably not. But you know what? Credit to him, because he used his redshirt year the way it was supposed to be used. He worked really hard. He's got a great attitude. In a lot of ways, he's what this thing has kind of been built on is just toughness and really playing for the front of your jersey. And then so you look up and he's having a great year because of it. So I think, I got into coaching, and I think a lot of us did to impact lives and to deliver a certain type of experience. And we're going to continue to do that, whether it's for 9 months or we get a guy for 4 or 5 years, So I think we're just working and work to really deliver on the standard that we've set, regardless of how long guys are here for.
Chris Cobb, University of Montana men's basketball, joining us here on Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. So how about this team? What do you think of this team with where they're at right now? You're alone in third place. Certainly it's been an up and down conference season, but you guys have shown that when you have downs, you bounce back pretty well. So what have you thought of just sort of their response when things maybe don't go your way, and where are you at just with this team coming down the stretch right now?
Yeah, I think we're a little bit young, a little bit younger than what I think we had hoped for. And I think injuries did that in terms of who's suiting up night in, night out. I think our ceiling is as high as anyone's in our conference, and I think our floor is probably a little too low for you right now. And that's how we feel, I think, day to day. And it's our job as coaches to make sure that floor raises and that we play to our ceiling Thursdays and Saturday nights, and I guess a few Mondays. But I think that we like the group. I think they're working hard. I think they're working to reach our full potential. And I think that hopefully here in the next couple of weeks, we'll see that be consistent on 4 nights in Boise.
Cash One Pawn, Missoula's #1 pawn shop.
You want money? We got money. You need money? We got money. We're cash.
Do yourself a favor and make Cash One Pawn part of your online shopping habits. Cash One Pawn has an awesome online inventory, everything from firearms to power tools to speaker equipment to jewelry. Visit Cash One Pawn today.
Cash One Pawn.
8720 Roller Coaster Road, CashOnePawn.com.
Hello, my name is Kelly Ayat, quarterback at the University of Montana. In the off-season, it's important to do everything you can to prepare for the season. In high school, that means funding your program. In my experience, Vertical Raise is the ultimate online fundraiser platform. Now broaden your reach of your fundraiser and bring in more money than other platforms. And there are no sneaky or hidden fees like other companies. If you're trying to raise money for your program, reach out to Vertical Raise today.
When it comes to having a veteran staff like you guys are, what is the adjustment you have to make when you go from, last year how many seniors did you have? 6?
Yeah, I guess 4 in the rotation and then 5 or 6 in general. Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's a senior laden team. And now this year, very few seniors. And then you got a lot of guys that are freshmen that are playing. So how do you have to adjust to what you expect out of the guys when they don't have maybe either time in your system or just time playing college basketball?
Yeah, it's hard. Your expectations have to change. I think that we have to know and understand that there's going to be nights, there's going to be days that aren't quite to the standard of what a 4th or 5th year guy would give you. And I think we had the fortune of having guys that had been through a lot of fires last year and understood what was going on and really peaked at the right time. And so I think when you look at guys like, and we're talking about Kenyon and Tyler Thompson, right? Guys that are freshmen that are playing their first basketball. I think you start looking up in February and March, and you got to realize, okay, like these guys are getting tired, right? Like there is a such thing as a freshman. You look across the country, you look in our conference, the freshmen that are playing or the young guys that are playing, they had a little bit of a wall. So we have to understand what that looks like and push through. And then I think we have to be better as coaches as well. Like there's, like a game on Saturday, we have to do our part to put our guys in position schematically and mentally and emotionally to get them ready to go in the way that we need to. So, there's a lot of things that play into that. But when you get to Boise, and these freshmen have played so many minutes, you hope at this point, and I think you've heard Travis probably say it, that they're playing like sophomores and they're playing like guys that have logged a ton of minutes at that point.
Yeah, Travis DeCuire said that after the game on Saturday. He said we need these guys, everybody on the team, to start playing like they're one class above the one that they are. Chris Cobb, University of Montana men's basketball, joining us here on Nuanez now. So then, how do you get to that point where you turn the page and you say, "Hey, here we are. We got 5 games left in the regular season. Boise is on the horizon. We're less than a month away." How do you sort of keep pushing these guys towards that? And what are the goals right now, just in terms of the way you guys want to finish your season?
Yeah, I think the goals have never changed. I think, it's playing good basketball today. It's right. It's having a good practice on Tuesday and having a good practice Wednesday, and then being ready to go at Idaho State in a place where they play pretty good and try to catch some momentum. I think last time we lost this game that we lost on Saturday night, we won 4 in a row and we were playing really, really good basketball. I look at that game at Portland State and I thought, like, wow, like we really competed hard. That game was a championship level competitive environment, competitive game. And I think we went into the locker room after the game. We're like, wow, like I didn't know these guys had this in their tank. We're pretty good. And then all of a sudden, I think we looked emotionally and mentally exhausted at Sac State. And now we're trying to get that momentum back. And I think we can, but it starts with having a good practice. It starts with doing the things that are important to us winning, to this group winning. But I do believe, Colter, that anymore these days, you are battling the distractions this time of year. You are battling the guys continuing to play for the front of their jersey. And I think that those are the things that we have to make sure that this team is continually doing, which they haven't showed any reason that they wouldn't. But I think those are the things that when you get into mid-February, late February, and guys are talking to agents and guys are thinking about what's coming up here in the next month or so, that we have to make sure we're doing a good job of managing.
I was going to ask you about that because, like, how do you go about devising a strategy to manage that as a coaching staff? 'Cause I talked with basketball coaches about this, but football coaches too. I mean, Brett Vegan would tell you that one of the main reasons they lost the national championship game 2 years ago at Montana State is half their guys had agents in their ear for the 4 weeks, between the last playoff, I guess 3 weeks between the last playoff game and the Natty, and that's a lot for guys to handle. So they had a little bit of a better plan. This year, they were able to mitigate it and win it. But you hear this from coaches all across the league in various sports. So how do you go about managing sort of that sort of stuff? Because it seems like some of it can be totally out of your control.
I think, you talk about it, getting the right guys first off. I think the messaging that you have day in, day out. I think us as coaches being consistent and showing that what we're doing here is the most important thing, that us as coaches, we're all in day to day. So I think those are the things that we can really control. And then, I think understanding that, hey, there's still a lot out there for us, and I think if you recruit good guys, you talk about what is important. And I saw something on the other day, like Sean McVay talking about just the love that you have for your team and your teammates allows you to kind of do the next right thing. And I think those are things that we're trying to hammer home. So I think this is a tight knit group. I think that we recruited a bunch of really good guys that care about this place and care about their team. And it's hard though, when you don't play well and someone's in your ear and the team has a tough game or a tough loss, it's easy to kind of let the adversity and people sink in. So I think it's just the constant messaging of making it about the right things and making this experience what we said this was going to be about. Right when we all came together in June, we said, hey, this is what it looks like to play at Montana. It matters. People care. Stick with it. And so I think we'll continue to work and do that.
Well, when you mentioned it, I mean, and I've said this on the show a bunch. You guys have, in my opinion, you have the highest ceiling in the league. But like you say, you got to raise the floor a little bit too. But you must see some really good um, optimism, knowing that like when you have had big games on the docket, Northern Colorado coming to town to open conference play, or at Portland State, you guys have reached a high level. So what's the next step from turning the page from the rivalry then, and sort of getting these guys back on the up and up this weekend as you travel to Pocatello and Ogden?
I think it's consistency culture. Like I actually, I can appreciate, um, maybe growth like as coaches, right? I think like, Travis probably would have walked in here uh, earlier in his career and lit the place on fire yesterday. And, he said it, like he walked in, he told the guys, he said, hey, like this program doesn't feel sorry for itself. Like we are, there's banners up in there. This is a proud program. There's a lot of tradition here. We're going to keep going. Right. And, I told the guys, I thought it was kind of funny that, a couple years ago, we swept them and they lost to a non-division one. And they didn't, Robert Ford showed up and they played really hard in the conference tournament and they found a way to win 3 games.
Yeah.
I think our seasons aren't the same in terms of where everyone's at, but I use that as an example of like, because you lose 1 or 2 games does not mean that has ended your season or that defines your season. And so I think there's a lot of things that we can take from the wins and the losses that we've had. Saturdays, was a tough moment for the group. And I think for a lot of these young guys that haven't experienced this game, they can take a lot from it. But it doesn't define where ultimately we're at, here mid-March. We could look back and say, hey, that was one of the things that we can use that propelled us to get where we wanted to go. So we took a lot from that game. When you watch the film, there's things we need to correct. But I also think that, like you said, I think I like our ceiling. It's our job as coaches to make sure that we're playing to that more consistently, game in, game out, and really through 40 minutes. Because I think you see it throughout spurts of the 40-minute game, but not consistently, for the 40 minutes.
What's Sarah? What up, E?
What's going on? Man, those are some nice medals.
Yeah, man, these are hard to come by.
Yeah, well, I've got 2 of them.
Well, that's nothing like going to March Madness, though.
We did go to a national championship.
Okay, guys, whatever. Let's just get on the Montana party bus and head over to Press Box for lunch.
Yeah.
Nuanez now and Skyline Sports, covering Montana athletics and the Big Sky Conference better than anybody. The Montana Party Bus and the Press Box are also proud supporters of Montana athletes.
Hey, cheers to you guys, man. Cheers to Montana. Cheers to chasing more champions.
Jewelry Design Center. We want to be your jeweler for life.
Yeah, that has to be so challenging too, right? Because on one hand, you can say we want to continue to get better till Boise, but at the end of the day, you're going to have to figure out a way to win three games in 3 days. And I don't know him very well, but know him a little bit. I feel like a guy like Money Williams, or even a guy like Tajon Sawyer, who I do know a little bit better, I think those guys would say, well, yeah, we're going to figure out a way to get to our best when Boise rolls around. But you don't want to say, hey, let's just forget about everything else, right? So that must be a balancing act as well.
Well, part of it is playing well Thursday night, right? Let's not get it
right.
twisted. And I think the best competitors love competing. They love challenges. And, I'll tell you this, Ryan Looney is as good as any coach in this league. They play really well at home. And so part of being ready, is to start playing well Thursday night. You're going to go to Weber where, over the last 35 years, Montana Weber is the premier rivalry in this conference, the 2 premier programs over the last 30 to 40 years. So if you can't get excited to show up, that's, then maybe competitive sports isn't for you. So I think we have a group that's excited. We have a group. I love, like you bring up Tajon, like that's one of the bright spots with our team. Like, one of the things that our staff said after yesterday's practice was, he showed up like a vet yesterday. Like he showed up ready to go. He was focused. He wasn't sulking. It's like, okay, let's show up. Let's get ready for Thursday night. And so I think that hopefully we'll continue to take that mindset and that mentality. But we know that every opportunity for us is we're blessed to have, right? We're blessed to be able to go out and compete and wear a Montana jersey and compete as Grizzlies. And that, Thursday is really when it starts to catch some momentum and continue a new streak.
Chris Cobb, University of Montana men's basketball, joining us. Last couple of things I'm glad you brought up Tajon, because I'm writing a senior story on him leading into Boise. But from my perspective, it seems like he's grown up a lot. I mean, he was so shy when he first got here, and now he's one of my favorite guys to have on the show, and it seems like he's become I was teasing him the other day. I said, you become an honorary Montanan, man. You've been around for a while now. So it seems like he's really leaned into what it means to be a Griz. So what have you thought of just his growth, both as a player and as a person?
Yeah, we took Tay out of San Francisco City College. We had a lot of familiarity with him and where he's from, Salesian. We've had a lot of Salesian players here over the years. And Tay was a good player. I didn't quite know what Tay had in his heart or in his tank, until I think after that first year. Like, he had a good first year with Deshaun and Lalu and those guys. And then he made a powerful statement after we lost that championship game that season. And he made a comment. He said, like, it's not going to happen on my watch. Like, that won't happen again next year. And it was really cool because Tay played his best basketball, end of January, February, March last year. And his focus and just him as a competitor was locked in, the whole end of the season. And he's been a great person to have in the locker room. He's been here 3 years. He's made the decision to be here because he loves this community. He's grown a lot as a human being. You look at his body and how he's changed, who he is. And I'm just so proud of him. I think he's done a great job in terms of what he represents for us. And I'm so happy that he's having, the season that he's having. He's actually the number one most efficient player in our conference right now in KenPom from an offensive standpoint throughout the conference season. So, he's really put himself in a position where he's a good player and he's been really, really good here. But I think he's actually grown so much that he's now going to set himself up to hopefully have a nice career after this.
Well, what's the number one thing you guys are going to be looking at in terms of improvement to turn the page from last weekend into this weekend? Is there a specific just mode of operation you're going to be pointing to that's going to show you growth this weekend on the road trip?
Yeah, I think when you watch the film, I think we were really disappointed in our in our effort defensively. Like, I don't think our bodies were moving, and I don't think we guarded the basketball the way that we wanted to on Saturday night. Whatever that reason was, whether it was scheme, whether it was them, you give them credit, they were ready to go. But I think I don't think we were at our best on Saturday, and so I think it's playing really hard. I think when we turn the film on after Thursday. On Thursday night, we watch it. Bodies should be moving the way that we expect this to the standard. And so I think if you see us flying around defensively and making plays on that end of the court and rebounding the basketball, the good things usually happen for us. So I want it to look like Grizzly basketball, and I think it's helping each other. It's playing good on the defensive end and then taking care of the ball. So those are the things that we're focused on and we're focused on yesterday. So Idaho State's a good team. Their record to me does not indicate who they are as a basketball team. And I think that can be a little bit of our Achilles heel and show our immaturity this year when our guys look at records. We have not showed up with the respect level that some of these teams deserve. And that'll be a good challenge for us on Thursday night.
Chris Cobb, Griz Basketball, joining us here on Nuanez Now. Coach, we appreciate the time and best of luck this weekend.
Thanks,
Join Town Pump's Pump It Up Rewards Plus program and never pay full price for fuel again.
Save 5 cents on every gallon every day at any Town Pump across Montana.
Plus, earn and redeem points on your favorite in-store items to get free stuff with our clubs.
Stop in and pick up a rewards card. Download the Pump It Up Rewards Plus app today.
Or visit townpump.com/rewards to register and start saving.
Right down the